G'day fellas and welcome to A Casted Game. We are here on the brand new expansion for Age of Empires 4. This is the Sultan's Ascend, and boy oh boy do we have a good one for you today. Spawning in on the north side of the map, playing in the color red as Jeanne d'Arc, it's Baloo. And on the south side of the map, in the color yellow, playing as Juicy's Legacy, it is the one, it is the only, it is the Viper! Ladies and gentlemen, we got him back once again in his color yellow, looking absolutely beautiful today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's time to get down and dirty. He's back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A Casted Game. We're here on Dry Arabia, just watching some Viper games. Just watching some Viper games. See what the Viper's up to. You know, good old Viper. How you doing, man? Long time no see. It's good to have him back. Just coming in, checking out the new civilizations, and today is on Juicy's Legacy. Of course, Viper, a big China enjoyer when it came to Age of Empires 4 before, but now looking to pick up the variant civilization. Let's see what he has got in store for us today. Now, I'll give you guys the 1-2 when it comes to the big Vipe dog, as I don't call him. Well, let's start it off with this. Viper, he's been playing a fair bit of team games. When I say a fair bit, I'm talking more than one. That's for sure. Ooh, nice little jackpot over here. 3 sheep. I thought this wasn't happening, developers. What's going on? Anyway, Viper plays a fair bit of team games. So, in saying that, he should have a pretty good understanding of what is going to be happening in 1v1 games. Now, Baloo, for anybody unfamiliar with this guy, he's pretty damn good. I'm pretty sure this is actually Numidan, who was a practice partner for Beastie. A very, very talented player. So I'm confident that we're going to see some really good stuff today, out of Baloo today, out of the Viper. It's going to be a great match. I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk about some of the new things here. So, of course, we've got Jeanne d'Arc up in the north here, Jeanne d'Arc, whatever you want to call it. Please don't bother commenting about the name. It's like that classic case. What was it? There's one word, Landsknecht. I've been pronouncing this word for like 7 years, and people are still like, hey, Drongo, really impressed with your pronunciation of Landsknecht. But if you could just carry the Z 4 points to the left and then do a backflip after pronouncing it, that would be perfect. Thank you. And the reality is, I just don't have it in me. I don't have it in me. You're lucky you get Jeanne d'Arc, because I could just be calling her Jane of Arc. That's the Australian way. That's the way that we pronounce it down under, mate. But Viper, now, speaking of down under, looking to get a landmark down under. Where's he going to go? What's he going to do? You need a wine or a beer or two. That's an ad. That's an Australian ad. Man, I'm pumped. I'm jumped today. You can feel me. You can feel it's energetic when the Viper is in the house. Oh, man, this is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. Give it to me, Viper. Where's it going? What's the landmark? You don't have to wait till 400 food, my friend. You can throw that bad boy down right now. Meditation Gardens. A little bit further away from your average position. I do like this. I'm a big fan of this. Moving out and getting that Meditation Gardens away from everything else makes a lot of sense to me. Was this the best spot he could have gone? Absolutely terrible spot in the back of the base here. Only going to hit your gold. Hits only the 6 berries. Alternatively, you could look to come out here. Probably, I reckon you could go about here, hit the stone, hit these 6 bushes, and get a fair few trees. Could do that, but Viper moves up north, gets a fair amount of trees, gets himself a gold, and then gets 8 berry bushes. So you're talking 64 food, 30 gold. Probably a little bit chump change over here for your wood. Not too bad. Not too bad. We're talking, what? So that's 94, maybe 110, 120 resources a minute. Not too bad. 3 villages worth. On the north side, though, let's check in with Baloo as the upgrades are starting to come through. Of course, we're talking about Wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow already on the way for Baloo in the north of the map. School of Cavalry working on it with Jeanne d'Arc. She is slowly but steadily tapping her hammer on it. Only 1 villager on the age up, but you can see this is still a pretty competitive time here for this. Now into the back of Viper's base. Supervision coming out on the mining camp already. Is that 2 Imperial officials in the Dark Age? Don't mind if I do, says the Viper. And I actually support this. I'll say this right now. I think that if you shouldn't do this with the Chinese because you have the Imperial Academy, but with the Juicy's Legacy, I think it's absolutely fine to go for 2 Imperial officials off the town center, just because you've got no other way to make them. You're going to have to get them out there eventually, so you might as well get them out now. Makes perfect sense. Age up comes through. Let's check in on the numbers. So we're going to have 30. Oh, not the best. And there, so 64. So it looks like it's 30, 12, and 64, so not too bad. Age up comes through on the other side. Joan immediately ages up, 4 minutes 50. Not a bad little timing there. And the woman at arms heads towards the north in search of deer? No, she's got to be going after wolves. Indeed, she is going after wolves. Now, looking to try and dish out some damage early on. I switched off it before she attacked it because I didn't want to get that little attack notification. Song Dynasty now arrives for the Viper and immediately throws down the barracks. He knows what's up. He says, I know where that knight's coming. It's coming right here. I'm going to have some preparation for it. So that spearman's going to be in queue the moment this barracks completes. He'll have the ability to train additional ones, and you can see him starting to stack up that food at the moment. Looking forward to seeing exactly what the snake has got in store for us. Knight across the map, Balu scouting out, thinking to himself, where am I going to strike first against the Viper? But you got to remember, you don't strike first against the Viper. The Viper lets you. That's the best I can give you guys. Sorry, I shouldn't. All right, heading out towards where you trying to kill sheep down here? Is there not boar on the maps? I guess that's where she's moving next, isn't she? Yeah, just doing a little bit of an attack move on the area. Now, behind this, we see the first of the knights looking to make way. Viper, watch out, son! And unfortunately, that villager makes it out alive. For his opponent, unfortunate. Spears, though. Single spear. He's got a second one coming in up the back, and Balu makes the right decision. He's going to have to bail out of that one. Bit of a hasty decision in the end, but I think it makes sense, judging on what was going on out there. Now, the question's going to be for me, does Viper look to go into a second TC? Currently, gathering up a little bit of wood back here. Still a few villagers on gold. He could definitely go into a archery range here, or an archery range, depending on if you like to pronounce your words correctly. Was that a conjunction? I feel like it's a conjunction, but there's probably a more technical term for it. But speaking of second town center, have a look at that. Balu already thrown it. Bro. Is that 3 TC? You can't be going 3 TC. Not against the Viper. Viper, hit him with it. Hit him with it, Viper. Now, Viper's out here on the map. Scout on stand ground. He is formidable. He is a man that you do not want to mess with if you come across him in a dark alleyway, because he will stand his ground. But unfortunately, he doesn't know about the situation back here, because it is brewing right now. He is cooking Balu right now. He's throwing a little bit of chili in the pot, and it's starting to get hot in here, because that is going to be a third town center coming down shortly for him. You're playing Joan, right? You're playing one of the best civilizations there is in the game. And speaking of Joan, how you doing right down here? Boom, plus 50. Don't mind if I do. Now, remember, when you're fighting against Joan, I've learned a couple of things so far, but I'll give you what I've got so far. Number one, because somebody asked me on Patreon, they said, on my coaching Discord, rather. They said, Drongo, how do I deal with Joan? I have no idea how to deal with Joan. I said, look, it's still early, but these are the things that we know. Number one, you got to try and disrupt her. You can't just let her do her thing. She's out here, she's killing boars, killing wolves, she's having a good time. You shouldn't be letting her do that. So that's number one. Number two, what was number two, Drongo? Number two? Number two. Oh, don't fight her. That was number two. We don't want to fight against Joan. We want to just, ideally, we want to try and avoid fighting where possible. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you can defend in situations like this, but you don't want to fight when she's around. Maybe make some horsemen, go for a little bit of a raid, but if you see her, try not to fight her. Don't want to feed her that experience to get her to level 3. And then finally, number 3 is that we want to get to Castle Age. Because we need to get to Castle Age because we need to start getting access to crossbows immediately. That's going to be the most effective way that we're going to be able to deal with her because she is just an absolute menace on the match if you do not do that. But now, beginning to move forward. Keep in mind, Joan is present. She's got 3 Holy Wrath ready to roll. Spears trying to get into position. Nice little dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge, but the villagers all jump into the village. The villagers jump into the village. Yep, you heard it here first. And you can see right now, Joan doing a wonderful job here. This is a tough spot for Viper, right? Because she heals as well. And on top of that, she's got the healing ability that she can use. Consecrate comes out there. She's thrown it onto the other side of the map. What have we got? TC Consecrated. That's where she's going to pop it. Second TC's Consecrated. Oh, I actually like that. That's kind of smart when you think about it. You can get some pretty decent value from that. There's the second and the third TC. Viper, he says, you want to have a boom off? Let's go for it, mate. I'm the king of the boom, and I got to agree. Viper is a hell of a boomer if I've ever seen him, and I'm not talking about the economy. I'm talking about the one with the monster can. Oh, man, that's a great meme. How good is that? I have a good friend. I say it's a good friend. I haven't talked to him in a while. But, you know, one of the things about good friends is you don't have to talk to them all the time. You can just kind of, it can be a while before you talk to them. But then the next time you talk to them, you're going to talk about the deepest stuff with them. You're going to just hit them up one day and be like, hey, man, I'm thinking about getting a divorce. It's been like 8 years since you've spoken to this guy. And he's like, oh, hey, Jerry, thanks, man. Cool. Sure, why not? But in all seriousness, he's a bit of a boomer. And he unironically used to have a ride-on mower, and he used to have an addiction to mother. Is it Mother or Monster? I think it's Monster. It's the zero sugar, the white energy drink. That can. That's the meme. He was just... I don't know whether he did it on purpose, but he was just the meme. It was great. And he's like pushing his mid-30s now. So it was definitely, you know, right up his alley. But look, speaking of alleyways at this point in the game, we're at 3 TCs apiece. I'm loving life right now. We're getting to witness the absolute king of boomers bring it out, and the upgrades are starting to come through. We're seeing ourselves a little bit of a feudal fight. Joan moving forward says, Viper, how you doing? Mind if I do a little spin to win? And indeed, Viper says, I don't mind, go for it. Problem's going to be if Viper wants to fight her... Whoops, Scout gets sat down, says, sit down over there. The problem's going to be if he decides to fight in the feudal age, he's going to be giving over free XP to Joan. And you're kind of breaking the rules. First rule's already been broken, that we have allowed Joan to do her thing. She's been out here farming boars and whatnot. Number 2 is it looks like we're preparing up to fight against her. That's always dangerous. And then number 3, we're not really focusing on castle. I mean, we got the gold in the bank, but I'm not too fussed about that. Zhuge numbers starting to look to build, though. That's going to be important for him. And you can see the numbers looking really good back. Oh, Viper. Going for a nice little farm transition. Don't mind if I do. Spears on the backside. You can see he's getting absolutely torn apart by Joan, though. Spinning around everywhere. At the same time, looks like we've got the upgrades beginning to make their way in. Viper still yet to pick up his +1s at this stage. And 11 minutes into this game, I think it might be time that we switch over to income. Just get a bit of an idea on where these two stand against each other. Viper at the moment sitting on about, what are we at, 800, 700, 1400, 1700, 1800 I'll give it to him. And then his opponent sitting about 1900, maybe 2k. So pretty close on the economy at this stage of the game. But now we can see those Zhuge numbers starting to build here. And the danger that he's going to have is, oh, you can see the damage coming out against Joan right there. Exactly where he needs to be. 10 Zhuge, that's going to be perfectly fine. Now, Balu should be looking for a timing around 13, 14 minutes for his level 3. That'll be perfect. As long as Viper's age 3 at that stage, he'll be okay. So ideally, for Viper, number 1 here is just, you want to build up your spear so you don't die to your enemy knights. And then number 2, get to castle age. And then from there, I think you can go with spear crossbow pretty happily, maybe mixed a few nested bees, and you're going to be fine. As long as there's knobs out, you're going to be A-okay. That's what's important, or at least that's the way I've always treated it. But upgrades are starting to come through. We're right on board with Balu as the push begins to come out. You can see he's picking up acid distillation already. No horticulture, excuse me. I guess he's on hunted meat for the most part, so he doesn't really care that much about horticulture. Like, realistically, he's not on sheep, he's not on berries, he's not on farms. Though he will be shortly. Makes sense. I kind of like that from him. That's a pretty smart move, because I'm the kind of guy where I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to click all the upgrades. Professional scouts, why not? I don't have a scout. I'll get, you know, what if I want to get scouts? I'm going to need the professionals. I don't want any amateur scouts coming out here. What are you, scratch scout? Get out of here. Anyway, we got age 3 coming through, and look at the timing from the Viper. Oh, the timing is immaculate, Viper. You just want to make sure we do not want to fight until we hit that castle age. We want to start building up those crossbow numbers, but the problem is Viper hasn't really walled at this stage. That means the men-at-arms are going to be knocking down the door. Viper, he could be in trouble right now. He's going to be holding on for dear life. Zhuge numbers are building. Vil's going to jump inside that secondary town center, but at this point in the game, the Spears are going to try their best to defend, and you can see he's diving underneath the town center. Will he look to commit? We're going to be watching Joan. Keep your eye on her. That's going to be the prize in this fight. The age up comes through. It's the Shaolin Monastery, and the second town center begins to get torched. Expect to see crossbows out shortly. The Viper knows his timings. I tell you what, this guy hasn't played a 1v1 in quite some time, and yet I tell you what, it feels like he was playing the pros just yesterday. Man, this guy is good. Now, balancing. As these units continue, it's going to be Palace Guards looking to join the field here. Watch out. Joan comes through, tries to find a spin, hits about 4 or 5 units. He's looking to focus her down. She manages to pull herself out. Remember, she's got that heal available still. She can always look to pop it. And now on top of that, you've got Knights on top of it. Big attack. Massive spin. And now Viper's army running as fast as it possibly can away from it. And you can see now that Joan is going to come through and look to clean this up. Viper holding on for dear life. Needs to call villagers. Needs to call Shaolin monks. Needs to call something. He rings the bell. Viper, you dirty little town bell ringer, I hear ya. Jumping inside the town center. He's trying to keep everybody alive here. Look to focus Joan down, but expect to see that heal come through any second. You know she's got it. You know she's ready for it. You can see him looking to try and focus that Joan down. Is he going to get it, though? Oh, she's alive by the skin of her teeth, but one more shot from the TC is not going to do it. Unfortunately, she lives to see another day. Oh, gosh, you know, you can't win them all, can you? You can't win them all. Well, that wasn't too bad of a defense by the Viper. He lost a lot of units there, but the good news is he's in a decent spot. He's made it to castle. He's not dead yet. He did lose a few villagers, though. He lost 7 in that fight. At the moment, the most important thing for Viper here is going into crossbow spear. Crossbow, going to be awesome at just one-shotting that bad bee. I was going to say that bad bee, getting her out of here. And Spear's just doing a good job of keeping the knights away from the crossbows. That's going to be your key. And he does, in fact, move into the big thing for me is whether it's going to be fast enough. That's what I'm scared of. I'm fearful that there's going to be another attack shortly. And this is where something like walls are very helpful because you can keep the walls up. It gives you a little bit of time between those attacks. You can kind of foresee them, prepare for them. Another thing to note is you could have supervisors out on these archery ranges right now, just really pushing your production to the next level. That would be another thing to note. But we now begin to see Joan in the middle of the map looking to begin taking sacred sites, as she is a religious unit as well. That's important to note. She does everything. She is like the grand winery for the Byzantines, but actually good. That's the difference, right? Like, she's really good at everything. Plenty of production coming out here for the Viper. Going to be a third archery range. Now starting to look really good. As long as we just want to keep those spear crossbows up. The spear crossbow here is going to be absolutely chef's kiss. But speaking of chef's kiss, have a look at that. That ain't chef's kiss. That's like chef's... Oh. Probably shouldn't say on stream. This is a family-friendly stream, but it's long. And it's, yeah. Guildhall for his opponent. It's going to be sticking on gold. I'm liking this. Stone, I feel like Stone is still by far the best, though. So, I'm surprised that we don't see more players look to utilize Stone. But now, back to the Viper. Veterancy coming through on the Jukunu. Ideally, I think at Castle Age, you should probably avoid Jukunu. Just because the Mangonel's out, and the Mangonel is just a really good counter unit to it. But now, beginning to push through. Bringing Joan. She's already healed up to full. It's been like 2 minutes and she's already full health. Why not? Fair enough. That's just how she rolls. No siege in sight, though. Spear's doing a decent job on the front. We're going to enter into the cinematic mode once again as Viper looks to try and defend up against Joan. This is it right now. The King of the Ring. Joan versus Viper. The Snake versus the Saint. That was good. That was good. I didn't expect that one to come out right there. Chasing her down. He's trying his best. You can see the spears diving through. He's having a little bit of trouble with the archers. This is where you need that single nest to be to come in and be like... But unfortunately, she lives again. She lives again. She lives again on 1 health. That's twice. That's 2 for 1, unfortunately. Relic, Monk could save the day. Viper trying his best to keep himself alive. He's got the supervisors coming out, looking to help. Villagers, are they they're looking to connect as well. Crossbows, working the magic. Joan still stands at this point in the game. But now the numbers have really begun to thin for the Viper. Finally, Joan goes down. Shaolin Monk also going to go down for the Viper. But now those numbers, the crossbow continue to kite. No spears here to help them. He needs to get back. He needs to double back towards this central location. That's where the spears are, and Viper holds once again. Even the best in the world can't keep this man down. He is just another level. I tell you what, I would have given up 16 times by now. And that was just in the first 5 minutes. This is incredible. We are witnessing greatness right here. Oh, my Lord. Decarbonization comes through. Viper preparing for the lack of carbon in his weapons. I'm excited. You're excited. Get excited, guys. This is... Man, I tell you what, there's nothing like a Viper game, is there? I'm a little bit of a fanboy. You may have realized that by now. And you know what? I don't mind. I don't mind being a biased caster. You can write it in the comments. You can get upset about it. But the reality is, when it comes to goats... I was going to say something, but... Look, the New Zealanders would have understood. I'm not going to say it anymore. Anyway. Joan's back. So we're dealing with that. That's the next problem. Let's check in. Let's see where we're at right now. Viper's got a booming farming economy. This is great. This is exactly where you want to be in this situation. You want to have that economy built up. The one thing he's missing for me is walls. Walls seem to be a really important part of Season 6. It feels like everyone, everywhere, is walling everything. And that's important because we want to try and keep that distance between our opponents, try and keep that narrative in our favor. You know, you don't want to write the story in, you know, chapter 6, and then I was raided and I lost 46 villagers. And I can't help but feel like that is an inevitable chapter in this book unless we see those walls come up. And now, Balu walks through his opponent's base like there was absolutely no walls in there, because there wasn't. And it's like he's a savant, autistic savant coming out right now. This is that the term? No, it's a fortune teller? I see the future. Anyway, Viper gonna have a tough time up against these archers. This is where the nest of bees comes in, just to complement this combination really well. Knights gonna continue to make their way down to the south, and once again, it comes back to the fact that we don't have our walls up, and these units are allowed to reign free. Joan on the front. By the way, I have a pass on the term autistic. As an autistic person, I'm allowed to say it. Anyway, I know there's gonna be the comments. Spears moving up. He's got himself a nice little position here, and he's finding himself running ring around the rosy. Pops the crossbows inside and says, how's your father? Jeez Louise, I didn't expect that one on a Tuesday. That is impressive. And now the relic gets pulled out. The Shaolin monk looking to do it dirty. Is he going to be able to find it? Viper with the Wololo. It does not get met today, but the spears a little bit distracted, and now all of a sudden, those Joan Dark men-at-arms get extra strong as she heals up on the front and now overwhelms the remnants of the spears. Viper, in a bit of a hustle, throws down 4 additional barracks and says, we need units yesterday. Trying his best to hold on 20 minutes through the game, but the numbers continue to diminish. He's got plenty of production here, but the single piece of the puzzle he's missing is just a nest of bees. A nest of bees would have just been absolutely perfect. And unfortunately for today for the Viper, we just don't get to see it. And it sucks because I tell you what, he would have had it. A single nest of bees could have changed the outcome in this fight. But he still holds on. He still looks to defend. He still tries his best here because this game is not over. The Viper is fighting for dear life here. The numbers continuing to climb. Look at the Viper brings the horde, calls upon the Zerg and says, my life for Aya. I know that's going to trigger so many StarCraft people, but just let it sit. Let that sit with you, StarCraft fans. Oh gosh, I don't. You know, if the Zergs actually, Kerrigan speaks English. I can say that much. But you know, I didn't play too much with Kerrigan. It was more with like the Queens. That was mainly it. You know. And now I'm gonna put my what was it that she put the larvae in? Now I'm gonna put the larvae in, and now I'm gonna put the larvae in again. That was essentially my extent of playing StarCraft. I just put a lot of larvae into the hatcheries. All right. Numbers building up for the Viper. Once again, look at this. He's found a way back into this game. 39-39. Little bit of an economic deficit at the moment, but he does have a huge infrastructure built up here. Plenty of production out. Plenty of farms on the field. Let's do a quick farm check. You guys know I'm all about the farm check. You heard of the vibe check. Have you heard of the farm check? We got 30 farms coming out, and he's adding more by the minute. On the other side of the map, we'll check in 36 farms for his opponent. So still keeping up with the Kardashians at this stage of the game, assuming Balu is some relative of them. But the numbers are still good. But the one thing that's missing, we've talked about it before, it's that extra little piece in the composition. It's the Nest of Bee. The Nest of Bee is what deals with these archers, because at the moment you don't have any response to them. You can throw Palace Guards at them. You can throw Jukanoo, but the reality is you need something like that Nest of Bees, and now Viper begins to push out Joan on that top side, trying to find a way through. You can see she summons out the men-at-arms and says, you guys go up that way. Oh, well, she got level 4. She pops the attack speed immediately, and now Viper's in trouble. The hand cannoneer blasting off, just like FPS Doug. Boom, headshot, bring her out, and now the Knights come round to the front side. The Viper trying to take her out, but she's got way too much health, and Viper finds out the hard way how bad this Saint is to deal with. All of his army gets absolutely melted while trying to dive her down the middle, and now the men-at-arms sit remaining, and unfortunately, everything is gone from the Viper. The only thing that remains are farms, and the man taps out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was an incredible attempt from the Viper. The Siege Workshop was coming in, but it was just a little bit too late. I gotta say, for a guy who plays a couple team games and jumps into 1v1, I'm excited.